Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing very well today. I have an amazing amount of training material to get through today, so I want to jump right into it. This is Real Estate Fast Track Secrets by me, Josh Sayer. We're going to be covering a lot of material today. Just a quick introduction. If you don't know me, I'm a top 1% agent in Maricopa County out here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I just want to provide all this training I can to help out as many real estate agents as possible achieve their dreams. So the first question is, what is your big why? So why are you doing any of this? What is keeping you going? What do you want for your family? What do you want for yourself? A lot of people never even ask this question. And if you don't know why you're doing any of this, in my opinion, you won't be as successful as you probably could if you have this question to answer. So I would just take a quick second, pause the video, take 1 minute, and write down all your answers to these questions because they're extremely important. And if you have a why that is strong enough, you can get through any how. There's no limit that you can not endure. If it's your kids and you had to get a deal in 24 hours, you would do it. You would be able to do it. So take a minute, write down your answers, and come back. And so for a lot of you, your big why is your family. It could be validation to feel successful, which leads to something deeper. You want to have your life mean something. You want freedom. You want to be able to do the things you want in your life. And that's what can be unlocked through a successful real estate career. So it can be unlocked. Now, it doesn't mean just be successful in real estate and everything will fix itself. Being a great business person and a great real estate agent requires, I guess I wouldn't say requires because I've seen a lot of people that aren't good people, but to be the person you want to be, that I know you want to be, it's going to take having a full spectrum approach where you're great mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. So these questions are so important because you need to know why you're doing any of this. And when you have conviction in why you're doing something, you can endure whatever you need to endure because it won't be easy. Now, what stops us? It's fear. Fear of the unknown, of failure, sometimes of success, of no, fear of everything. And the quote is so great. It's on Go Limitless is the Instagram page. Please check it out. The quote is, "The fears we don't face become our limits." The fears we don't face become our limits. So it's just as simple as that. If you're a newer agent and you've tried cold calling before and you just don't want to do it and you're scared and they might say no, they might yell at you, I have news for you. Basically everything that you're trying to achieve is on the other side of fear. And that could be in business, in life, whatever it is. A lot of it is just on the other side of fear. Fear of asking that girl out, or fear of taking that business opportunity or making that move to a new city that we need for growth. Whenever I've grown the most, I've been the most afraid. And everybody that's watching this video probably already knows this, but fear and bravery have a relationship, which is interesting. So you're not brave because you don't have fear. You're brave because you have fear and you still continue forward. And you get the bravery after you move forward through the fear, not before. That's what separates cowards and heroes, is bravery. And the heroes are just as scared as the cowards. So keep that in mind. That's fear of failure, right? Well, the failure rate for a real estate agent over their first 5 years is 87%. Now, for context, Navy SEAL basic training has a failure rate 9% lower. Now, I know some idiot is going to read this and hear me say what I'm saying. Well, Josh said that being a real estate agent is tougher than Navy SEAL based training. It's not what I said. I said the odds are against you. That's what I'm just saying. Odds are against you. So how do you make it into the 13% that do make it past 5 years? And to be frank, the people that make it past 5 years, I mean, a lot of them are kind of mediocre. You know, they close enough deals to just kind of pay the expenses, make a little bit of profit, pay their taxes, and stay with it. So you probably just don't want to barely make it. You want to succeed. You want to be the best or one of the best. So how are we going to do that? Well, we got to do something first. We got to put your fears to rest. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to put it in a headlock, and we're going to choke out your fears so that we can move forward, make you the great business people that you want to be, the great salespeople you want to be, and achieve a life worth living. Now, a lot of people say you shouldn't work hard because you want to have fun. You want to enjoy life too. And I just patently disagree with that, because I can have fun when I'm not partying. I take some amount of pleasure from seeing how much I can push myself, seeing how far I can go, seeing how hard I can work, seeing what I can achieve. And the great thing for me is I can push myself every single day. You can only enjoy yourself when you're on vacation. You know those people? They can only enjoy themselves when they're drunk or they're doing drugs or they're on vacation or something. The great thing for me is I can enjoy myself every day. Every single day, I'm able to push myself. And that's what you're going to be able to do. When you learn how much enjoyment you can take from just being able to push yourself and achieve something, it's going to completely change your life. And this is how you do it. This is how I went from 0 to 1. How I went from newbie to pro in 24 months. And those are real pictures I took with my phone. Those are the correct dates. I checked it with my iPhone and everything. So, yeah, that was me. October 15th, 2019. I'm sitting in a Keller Williams office. I'm looking out the window. I'm cold calling. I have my script on the left, notepad on the right. I'm writing stuff down. I am looking at the cloudy weather. You know, got no money. I got my temporary business cards right in the middle there. They don't even have my name on it. You have to write in your name because my business cards hadn't gotten there yet. And like, this is what it looks like. This is what the beginning looks like. And you just got to be okay with that. Because about 2 years and 2 weeks later, my life looked like this. I'm in first class on a trip to Miami. I'm like in those lay flat seats, which are so comfy, by the way. I'm watching a movie, Batman Begins, and I'm above the clouds. I've just closed, I think, something like 10 or so transactions within the span of about less than 45 days. And so life is totally different. I'm about to go on a vacation, have so much fun, enjoy myself. You see how I kind of caught myself there? I mean, there's a time to vacation and enjoy yourself in a different sense than just pushing yourself super hard all the time. Sometimes you want to go, change things up and go to Miami and go on a vacation and kind of enjoy the fruits of your labor. So there's something to that too. I'm not going to BS you. I like that stuff as much as the next guy. But these are two completely different lives. And they were built through being in control of my business. Because I was in control of my business and I got coaching and I knew what to do next and I could just focus on doing the task at hand every single day, I was able to go from this on the left, kind of nothing, to that on the right, which materially I had basically everything you could want. So very, very different parts of my life. Like I said, you got to be in control of your business. And what does that mean? Well, it means these three things: lead generation, lead follow-up, and organization. Now, with lead generation, every single real estate agent that I meet that's new always wants to know, how do I get leads? How do I get leads? How do I generate leads? How do I get leads? How do I buy leads? All this. It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. And I would argue that to put your business, because your business does require lead generation in some form, either you buying leads or creating them yourself. If you put that in somebody else's hands and outsource it, then your business is in somebody else's hands. The success of your business is in someone else's hands. And to me, that's just untenable. That's not acceptable for me. So what are the three methods I recommend for generating your own leads? Well, cold calling, door knocking, and open houses, open house events. Now, cold calling. In different markets, this has a different level of effectiveness. So when I was in Oregon, I was able to cold call. I made a lot of calls, got good business from it, everything. I did begin to change into a door knocker, and I would door knock specific homes. I'll tell you about that in a second. But when I started door knocking, I saw my total amount of people go down, but my conversion rates went way, way up. So it took fewer people to make a sale, long story short. But with cold calling, I could obviously talk to way more people. Now, cold calling is effectively free. I mean, you don't even technically need a dialer to do it. However, a dialer, it's $50 a month. And if you're watching this presentation, you are broke. Well, what you need to do is sign up with Uber and work Uber for, let's just say, 2 hours. And that will get you your $50 that you need for your dialer. And a couple more hours to get you a couple of the little minor systems and things that are very effective and very helpful. And if you need a suit, well, you got to spend, $300 on a decent suit, like just bare minimum type suit that doesn't look like it's for a high schooler. $300. That's probably 8-9 hours, something like that. Because you can make, about $20-25 an hour working Uber. And if you want to say, oh, that's going to wear on your car, these are things you don't need to worry about right at this moment. We need to get you paid. We need to start making money. And you do need a suit if you're a man. You need professional attire if you're a woman, equal to a suit. And I would very much recommend just a cheap, good dialer that works, does the job, just good enough to allow you to cold call. Because cold calling has been one of my best investments. I think when I had my full RedX account, I was probably paying about $250, maybe $300 a month, because I had every single feature you could possibly get. And to this day, one of the best investments I've ever made. I've made however much I spent on a dialer for 2 years, I probably made 10 times that amount. So just keep that in mind. Door knocking. You need no money to door knock. You might need a car sometimes, or you borrow your parents' car, or you borrow your friend's car, or girlfriend, or whatever. Whatever you got, okay? Maybe you just got to walk. Maybe you take a $20 Uber, okay? If you are broke, absolutely broke, then you just got to do what you got to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Once you get a closing, you might be able to get a cheap little car, get some of the things you might need. I'm trying to get you out of the situation you're currently in. If you're totally broke, if you're not totally broke and you just got you got a car and a cell phone, you maybe got $1,000 to spend on business stuff. That's good. That's good enough. If you're an agent who's been doing this a long time and you just feel like you've been hitting your head into the cement day after day after day, year after year, you're not going anywhere. So you probably aren't in the latter positions. But what you need to do, if you're in any three of these positions, is focus and get really good at doing a few things. I would recommend getting really good at having sales conversations, because that is your job, is to be able to have sales conversations and lead people to a decision that's in their best interest. And that might not always be hiring you, just to be totally honest. Obviously, we want, quote unquote, we want the sale. We want to make money. Like, that's why we're in business, of course. But just from an ethical standpoint, you have to lead people to a great decision, whatever decision that's best for them. And sometimes it's not to sell their house yet, or not to buy a house yet, or whatever. And we want to lead them to a decision. So lead generation is just finding people who are ready to make a decision. Lead follow-up is making sure you get back in touch with those people, okay, when they're ready to make a move. And then organization is how you're going to handle all these things. So, cold calling, door knocking, open houses, open house events. I'll explain more, but you can hold 2 open houses per day on the weekend, 10 a.m. to noon, and then 1 to 3. That's 2 open house opportunities, 2 different houses. Obviously, follow your local and state and brokerage rules and regulations. Don't get me in trouble because you did something stupid. Okay. So you can hold 2 open houses a day, 4 per weekend, 16 a month. If you hold 16 open houses and you're doing all the door knocking that comes with it and prospecting and everything that comes along with an open house, do you think there's any way you can't get 1 piece of business from holding 16 open houses? I just don't find that possible. And in fact, I think the stats say something along the lines of properly scripted with proper follow-up, every 10 people that walk through your open house, that should equate to 1 closing for you. So if you get 5 people per open house coming in and you're holding all these open houses, you're holding 16 a month, you get 5 per, that's 80 people that you're going to get through your open houses, which should equate to 8 deals. Which, let's just say average commission is $10,000, that's $80,000. So, I mean, if getting really well practiced on your scripts and your follow-up and everything like that, and holding 16 open houses is worth 80 grand to you, I'd go ahead and do it. If not, don't do it. It's up to you. And just a quick note on the door knocking. If you're a woman, I would recommend having a partner, like a door knocking buddy. I personally don't feel comfortable door knocking before the hours of 10 a.m. and after 7 p.m. I just want to leave people alone, before and after those times. So yeah, 10 a.m. to about 7 p.m., a little earlier than that, those are your hours to door knock. And you can knock on probably about 30, if you're just like doing the same neighborhood, you can probably knock on about 30 doors per hour. And 25 to 30% of the time, you're going to get somebody that answers the door. Meaning, there's going to be business there. If you knock on doors for, let's just say, 4 hours, and you're knocking on 30 doors per hour, and 30% of the time someone answers, you're going to talk to 36 people. So you do that, let's just say 4 days. That's 144 people. That should be an appointment, likely a closing somewhere in there. Just likely. So door knocking, the math works. And now if you're knocking on the doors of for sale by owners and expireds, those numbers are going to totally change. You're going to knock on maybe 10 doors and potentially get an appointment and potentially get a closing. So lead follow-up, CRM. So I know people that are running a CRM out of a Google Sheet, which is free. You don't need to do it. Just, Google import contacts into a Google Sheet, export contacts out of a Google Sheet, Zapier plugins. You could do a lot of these things very easily. Now, a CRM makes things far easier, of course, but you don't need anything super fancy to start, especially if you don't have money. And so, yeah, CRM, let's just say you're cold calling people, if you're talking to, say, 20 people a day, you should be able to get 1 person into your database, into your CRM, customer relationship management software. So if you're getting 1 person in there, that means getting their phone, name, email, address. So you got 3 points of contact. their email, phone, and address, mailing address. And that's super important because that leads into a 40 touch program. Now, what is a 40 touch program? It means you're staying in touch 40 times a year. One physical mailer 12 times a year or once a month. 2 emails a month or 24 times a year. That gets us to 36 touches. And then 1 door knock, phone call, or text per quarter. And obviously it's in that order of quality. So if you can door knock them and you're able to reach them that way, that's great. If you can't do that, call them. If you can't reach them, leave a text. And that's 40 touches a year, which is, there's 52 weeks in a year. That's 76% of the year you're talking to them in some way. So, referrals and repeat business. Long story short, every client that you get, you should be able to get 1 referral per year out of them. That's a friend, family, coworker, something, neighbor, whatever. 1 a year. And if you're staying in touch with them through a 40 touch program and you did a good job, you should be able to get a referral. And you're always letting them know, hey, referrals are the best thing, and your word of mouth is the way a small business succeeds. So if you can just keep an eye out, anybody, send them my way, really appreciate it. And then think of this. You help somebody buy their first home. Let's just say they buy their first home at, let's just say 30. Make the math easy. 30. So they buy their first home at 30. At 35, it's a husband and wife. At 30, they buy their first home. At 35, they're going to sell that home and buy another, kind of their move-up home. Then at 40, they're going to buy and sell again, okay, for their top home. And then maybe 10 years later, they're going to buy and sell a home, which is like their retirement home, their forever home or final home. And so from there, let's just say 30 to 50, they bought once, then bought and sold, that's 3 transactions, then bought and sold, that's 5 transactions, then bought and sold, that's 7 transactions over the span of 20 years. And keep in mind, they sent you referrals once a year. They sent you 1 referral a year. So 1 client, if you do a good job, that's 27 transactions over 20 years. And let's just say $10,000 each. 1 client lifetime value becomes $270,000 instead of just $10,000. So that's how you need to think of it. And maybe you won't be in real estate 20 years. Maybe you're only going to be in real estate 5 to 10 years out of choice, not by force, but just out of choice. You made all your money and you became an investor, let's just say. But if you stay in it for a career, you make it a career, each client becomes worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over 20 years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So 1, we got to do a great job. We got to help them out a ton. Then we need to, of course, stay in touch and follow up. How do you do that? Digital and physical organization. So digital organization, having a CRM, having your folders and files organized, named, documented, everything like that. I use a software called Folio, and it auto organizes all of your documents into a Google Drive. It takes every email and puts it in that folder and everything. It's perfect. So if you do decide to use that, I think it's amatry.folio. I may have a link in the description below. So anyway, with CRMs, Brivity, I do have a link for you that gets you a big discount. That is in the link in the description below. Just look out for the Brivity discount. So these things are going to keep you organized. A great CRM and a great, digital file organization system. And then physically organized, I recommend a few things. Now, if you ask any of my friends, I'm not the most physically organized person in the world, but it's good enough. It's good enough. Listen, I can still make recommendations even if I'm not the best at something. You can learn from my experience. So anyway, with physical organization, a lot of times, great idea to have 10 of each form that you need in order to take a listing. I typically just recommend, it depends on your state, the listing contract and the agency agreement. Having 10 copies of that with 10 listing presentation folders in your vehicle at all times. And that just very much helps. Somebody calls you up, you're out at lunch or something, someone calls you up, come to my house right now, I want to list my home, boom, 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 boom. Like, I need you right now. I need you in 5 minutes. So like, you got to go. Or you're knocking the door at somebody like, hey, we want to list our house right now. Or we're a for sale by owner. We love what you got to say. We want to list our home. And you don't want to be in a position where you got to go back to the office, print everything out, and then come back to the house. I've lost a listing before doing that. And it was a painful experience, losing, 20 grand because, I'll send it to you DocuSign. And then they never sent a DocuSign, or they never signed the DocuSign, and then they signed with somebody else. And it's just a painful experience I want to save you from. So having those documents with you, fantastic idea. Now, the online leads, I didn't cover this. I wanted to cover this last. Online leads and lead generation. I don't recommend. If you are a newer agent or a struggling agent, do not, I repeat, do not go for online leads. You will waste your money. You will lose money. It will be faster for you to just go to the bank, go to the ATM, pull out $1,000 and light it on fire. That is just a faster and simpler way to lose the money. Because when you buy all these leads, it's going to take up a lot of your time. So it honestly would be better if you just lit it on fire. And I say that because as a newer or struggling agent, you probably don't have the systems in place to handle these leads. You don't have the lead follow-up schedule or sort of muscles that you're going to go and follow up each and every single day. You haven't built your ability to have sales conversations yet, so you don't know how to converse with an online lead and how to sort through the crappy ones for the good ones. So I would stay away unless and until you've had 2 closings per month for 3 straight months. I just wouldn't even look in the direction of online leads, because there's a million platforms out there that promise everything under the sun. They promise the moon and back, and they've promised that to every single agent before. So just don't. And even if it did work, it's not in your control. It's not going to work, but even if it did, it's not in your control. And so think of, if Zillow raises its prices on the leads, well, if you don't pay the price, you're screwed. Or if the landing page goes down or whatever, it's just out of your control at a certain point. And you want your business to be in your control. So here's what you're going to do for the next 30 days. So this is for my new and struggling agents. This is what you need to do for the next 30 days. Well, number 1, you have to commit to being the best. Commit to being the best. I think the saying is, regarding breakfast, between for the chicken is involved in your breakfast. The pig is committed for your eggs and bacon. Chicken is involved. The pig is committed to that breakfast. So you got to commit. Okay? There's none of this crap where you're messing around and doing God knows what 12 hours out of the day. If somebody followed you around with a video camera for your whole day, they would be able to, I'd be able to watch that video, and I'd be able to find out exactly what was important to you. And just think of it right now. If somebody did that, would they think that real estate is the most important thing to you? Being a successful real estate agent is the most important thing to you. And people say, I have kids, I have obligations, I have this, that, and the other. And listen, I'm not telling you to ignore your kids or your spouse or anything like that. There's 24 hours in the day, okay? So 24 hours in the day, you sleep 8. That means you got 16 left. If you work 12 hours a day for these next 30 days, you still got 4 hours. Still got 4 hours. And if you work out, that's an hour. You got 3 hours left. Let's just say an hour to wind down and relax a little bit before you go to bed. Still got 2 hours to hang out with your kids, have dinner with your spouse and kids and all that. Like, you still got enough time. And we're just talking for 30 days. Okay? You have a full night of sleep and you got 12 hours of work. And even still, with everything else, you still got 2 hours of like actual free time to spend on maybe if you have no kids or no anything, like just your own hobbies or relaxation time or whatever. But if we're going to commit to being the best, like this is what it takes. This is what it takes. Okay? So I'm not telling you to ignore your family. I'm not telling you, definitely not telling you to skimp on sleep. What I just did right there, that's with 12 hours of work and 8 hours of sleep. It still gives you 4 hours of spare time to do what you got to do. Okay, so I would just say 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 3 hours of scripts practice and role play. This includes objection handlers, practicing your listing appointment, everything. Okay, so if you need scripts or you need to work on your objection handlers, you can do that. Find a prospecting buddy or something like that. You can join my coaching program. We have scripts practice every day, 9 to 10 a.m. So if you need help with that, we have all the scripts and everything. Just let me know like what you need, and we'll get in touch and get something done. But scripts practice and role play. And people will say, I don't want to practice my scripts. 3 hours? Do I need to practice my scripts for 3 hours? No, you don't. If you don't want to be the best, you don't. How long does the average agent practice their scripts per day? Something like between 0 and nothing, like maybe a minute a day over a month. They don't practice, okay? But you are committing to be the best, so that's why you are going to do something different. So let's say you start at 7 a.m., you're reciting your scripts, you're practicing them, then you jump into our Slack channel and you're doing script practice and role play with another student in the program. And then as soon as you're done with that, boom, you jump right into prospecting. You got 5 hours of prospecting, okay? You got 5 hours of prospecting, starting, let's just say at 10 a.m. It can be cold calling, door knocking, whatever, but it's something. Cold calling or door knocking, those are kind of like the two real important ones. You can obviously do open houses. I typically say on the weekends. But from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're doing your scripts practice. Then 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 10 to 3. Let's just say 3:30 for a lunch break in there. But yeah, 10 to 3:30, something like that. You're prospecting. Okay? And you're following up on your leads. So you're prospecting, and then at the start, you probably won't have very many leads. So you're not going to need to spend that much time lead following up. You're going to lead follow up on just people you've already talked to, or like hot deals or FSBOs you talked to, or expireds you talked to, whatever. Okay? So now it's 3:30. You've gotten a full 8 hours of work in already, and we're going to keep going. So for another, let's just say half hour, this will bring you to 4 o'clock. You're doing office stuff, administrative tasks, things like this, that, and the other. You just call it random, miscellaneous office stuff. Got to print stuff out or whatever. So between 4 and 6, you're going to have your appointments. And then I put the 1.5 hours of systems and strategies. So when you're doing your office stuff, you're probably having a working lunch. So let's just combine those two. So yeah, between 3:30 and 5:30, you're having appointments. And then for the last hour and a half, you're having systems and strategies. So you're working on your CRM, you're figuring out the strategies that you're trying to approach. If you want to save that time, you can you can join my program, the Nova Coaching Program. We'll get everything going. You won't have to worry about the systems or strategies or what you need to work on or what you need to do. We'll just give you the plan. Hey, do this every single day. You're good, and you're gonna make money. So if you want to save some time, obviously do that. But if you need to come up with it yourself, There's plenty of resources online. If you do have questions, like just shoot me an email or something. Yeah, and if you don't have appointments or showings in the afternoon, you go right back into prospecting. Go right back into prospecting. So if it's, let's just say 4 o'clock, if it's 3:30, 4 o'clock, and you have no appointments or showings scheduled, well, you're going to start prospecting again for a couple hours. And this is going to be a lot. This is going to feel a lot. When you're used to crawling, running is going to feel way different. You're going to feel sore. Think of your prospecting muscles or your real estate muscles. You're going to feel sore. It's going to be a lot compared to what you've been doing. However, the results are going to speak for themselves. And the final bit is you got to believe. So if you're putting in all the work, think about anything you've ever done in your life, but when you put in the work, you automatically just start to build a confidence about it. If anybody out there is like me and you've played sports in the past, you know when you've prepared and when you haven't. And when you've prepared, you feel confident. Doesn't mean you feel invincible, but you feel confident. You're like, hey, you know what? I put in the work, I worked out, I did what I was supposed to do, I practiced hard. Time to lay it all in the field. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to begin to be confident in what you're doing. So that's your next 30 days. That's your next 30 days. And here's how we get a deal fast. First is we talk to our personal circle. So this is friends, family, neighbors, church members, like whatever. Anybody remotely in your personal circle, people that know you, people you know, that's your personal circle. And oftentimes this is the first deal for a lot of people. They sell their parents' house, they sell their, friend's house, they sell somebody's, like whatever. That's your personal circle. Now, FSBOs and expireds, for sale by owner and expireds. Expireds are those people who their home was on the market, came off the market for whatever reason, the listing contract expired, and they're now unrepresented by a listing agent. For clarity, not represented by a listing agent. So FSBOs, or for sale by owners, people trying to sell their house themselves, they've raised one hand. One hand saying they would like to sell their home. And expireds have raised two. They want to sell their home and they're willing to pay a commission. So if you want to go find homes that people want to sell, I'd focus on those two. It doesn't mean you have to. You can just go knock on random doors or call random houses. And it's like if you have 10 houses and one of them has a for sale by owner sign on the outside, you're going to avoid them? I don't think that would be a good idea. I think you should really focus on for sale by owners and expireds. And if you practice your scripts and you have a great coach and a great coaching program that is going to help you with your scripts and so that you know exactly what to say in specific situations, you're going to feel so comfortable and you'll be able to, I say this somewhat jokingly, but almost like print money, because you have skill set and you can help people that need it, because 90% of for sale by owners end up listing with an agent. 40% of recently expireds relist with a new agent in 30 days. So if you can be the professional that these people need, you can make a living. You can make a living and you can help a ton of people with their needs by creating a lot of value for them. And then open house events. So I talked about this a little bit earlier. You can hold 4 open houses, per weekend. And what's the difference between an open house and an open house event? Well, open house is just where you throw, a sign in the yard, throw some balloons out, and hope for everybody to come in the house. An open house event is when a couple of days prior, you go out and you knock on 200, 300, 400 of the neighbors' doors, hand them a flyer. Hey, we're having an open house at 1234 Main Street. Just wanted to invite you, let you know. Do you know anybody looking to move into the neighborhood? Have you guys thought about making a move? Just curious. Like asking that question to, let's just say 400 people is going to be very helpful for you. And it's going to create a bunch of traction for your house because somebody that those neighbors know might want to move into that house and might attend that open house, and you might get a buyer or two. You're working hard for your sellers, or if it's not your listing but you're still holding it open, you're working hard for those sellers because you're getting their home exposure. And that's one of the most important things as a listing agent or as somebody trying to sell a house, is get exposure. People can't buy a house if they don't know it's for sale, typically. So in open house events, when you invite everybody, hey, we're having this open house 1 to 3 p.m. here on Saturday, and we're actually having a neighbors only open house at 12:30. We'd love for you to show up. You're invited. Just would love to have you there. So that's obviously a lot different when you're inviting people and you have a positive attitude and you're extremely energetic and enthusiastic. It's a very different conversation than if you're not having a good time and, miserable, and you're kind of soliciting, hey, will you sell your house to me or not? Or like, can I make some money off of you? That versus inviting people and just trying to help. Totally different conversation. And that's why it's totally different than an open house. And that's why it's an open house event. So here are the numbers. So 200 contacts equals 2 appointments equals 1.5 listings. Now just kind of bear with me, okay? Because you're going to get like 70 to 75% of the listing appointments you go on if you're well scripted, well practiced. And that will equal 1 closing, and that will equal $10,000 of gross commission income. Now the question is, how many deals a month do you want? If it's 4, you got to talk to 800 people a month, 200 a week, or 40 a day. And 4 deals a month, $40,000 a month. It's about $500,000 a year, which is a lot of money. And all you have to do is talk to 40 people a day, which is pretty simple. I mean, it's really not that complicated, or it's not as difficult as working in a coal mine to talk to 40 people a day. Just being real. It's just not that. It's not that hard. It's definitely, it's work for sure. It's definitely work. But it's not working in the coal mines. So keep that in mind. These are the numbers. These are averages. Just something that you can base stuff off of. So like if I need 10 grand, okay, I got to talk to 200 people, period. And if the market gets really, really bad, maybe it's 300 people. But you have a certain number, and you're not just doing stuff, throwing it into the wind and hoping money comes back, because that's what a lot of newer and struggling agents do. They're doing TikTok poorly. They're doing Facebook poorly. They're doing Instagram poorly. They're doing everything poorly. They're not really lead generating. And if they are, they're doing it poorly. And they can't really measure anything. I think I talked to like 5 people or something. All the students in my program know exactly how many people they're talking to per day and per week and per month. And as a result, they're setting appointments. One of my students been in my program 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And she has 7 appointments in like 10 days. 7 appointments in 10 days. But she actually calls, she actually practices, she listens to the advice I give her, and she's going to start making a ton of money. In 3 months, her life's going to be totally different professionally. That's what happens when you have a good coach and you actually work for it. 3 L's, listings, leverage, leads. So you got to list to last. If you want to last in the real estate business, you need to list homes. And a lot of Keller Williams agents will probably see this and think it's very familiar, because it is. So you got to think. So you have to visualize whatever you're trying to do. That's why I asked you your big why, so you can figure out, why am I doing this? Then what do I need to do? Then what do I want? So I'm thinking. Then you have to go out and earn the money, the gross commission income. Then you're going to net a portion of that and then receive it into your account. You're going to receive all that money. And then once you get to a certain level, you're going to give via charity or time or whatever it is, you're going to give. And that's what you do. So you think, earn, net, receive, give. Listings, leverage, leads. A quick slide, but very self-explanatory. And here are the 20 biggest agents. Here are the 20 biggest mistakes agents make. See, I just made one of them. I just made a speaking mistake. And no, if I swear to God, there's going to be somebody in the comments that says, well, there's only 5 on here. Yeah, there's 4 more slides, okay? There's 3 more slides, 4 slides total, okay? So chill, relax. We'll get there, okay? 4 slides total, 3 more after this, 20 mistakes total. Here are the first 5. Being distracted by your phone and neglecting self-care. So, if you want to be shocked, and you have an iPhone, I'm sure Android has this as well, but if you have an iPhone, go to your settings, go to your screen time, and look at the time you're spending on your phone. I promise you, it will shock you. I promise you, you have time. You say, I got no time, I'm always busy, I'm doing this, that, and the other. You have time. You're being lazy. You're distracted and you're being lazy. And maybe nobody in your life is willing to tell you that, but I am. Failing to embrace challenges and the necessity of hard work. It's what a lot of people do. The most successful people in the world don't do this. But a lot of bozos, real estate agents, do this. Failing to embrace challenges and the necessity of hard work. Okay? This next mistake is extremely common. People join a team without proper evaluation of that team. Now, how could you properly evaluate a team if you're brand new? You can't. You don't know what's a good team. I don't know. They're like super successful. Maybe they're super successful in terms of transactions, but are they good as a team? Are they good as a mentor? Are they good to coach you? Are they good to provide for the things that you need as a new agent? I'd say most of them aren't. And I would say conservatively, 80% of teams are crap and suck big time. And for a lot of those teams, you will be a glorified, unpaid assistant and a showing assistant. Another big mistake, listening to advice from mediocre or unsuccessful agents. Bad mistake. Stupid mistake. But you don't know any better because you're new. And they've been in the business 10 years. Yeah, and they've sold 10 houses in 10 years, okay? And basically all those have been friends. Why are you going to listen to them? Do you want to be like them? Do you want to have the real estate success that they do? If so, follow their advice, good and bad. If you want a mediocre real estate career, listen to a mediocre real estate agent who has no success. If you want to be the best, you listen to the best. You want to be rich, you listen to what rich people do. You want to be a successful real estate agent, listen to a successful real estate agent. I spoke about this one earlier, relying on other people for your lead generation. Think about lead generation as your push-ups, and think how asinine it is to think that you're going to get in shape when somebody else is doing your push-ups. You got to do your own push-ups. Simple as that. You have to do your own push-ups. Mistaking being busy for productivity. I have a student like this, and he thinks, I'm so busy, like I'm doing so much. And I said, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm setting up this ad campaign and this, that, and the other, and I'm running around. And I'm like, brother, I've been there. It don't work, okay? It doesn't work being super duper busy. There's an infinite amount of work that you could possibly be doing. Okay? But the saying is, and I'm probably going to butcher this, the saying is, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And most people will say, like, you should do a good job at the things. Most people take that as, you should do a good job at the things that you do. And while that's true, what the saying is actually getting at is this. The most successful people they don't have more hours in the day than you. They're just doing activities that are better for more hours than you. So instead of quote unquote being busy, they're being productive. They're highly leveraged in terms of their hourly value, like the value of the work that they're putting in. They're high dollar per hour activities. And that's what you need to do. Filling out paperwork, not a high dollar per hour activity. It's like a no dollar per hour activity. That can be done by somebody else. Running papers over to an appointment, low dollar per hour activity. Almost none. You can have that couriered. You need to begin, especially as you start becoming more successful, you got to begin leveraging out things that you don't need to do. So you like take a list, and at the very top of that list would be negotiating deals, going on listing appointments, right? Writing offers. These are some of the most high dollar per hour activities you could possibly have. It's like an hour to make 15 grand, basically. I'm oversimplifying, but just trust me, okay? And at the bottom of that list, it would be paperwork, going to the MLS, going to your board of realtors, printing business cards, designing social media, updating a website, like all these like very arduous, tedious things that you don't need to be doing, okay? Inconsistency in following a schedule. So you need a schedule. Most people are like, wait, what? I got in real estate, so I'd work for myself. I didn't have to have a schedule. Listen, if you want to be successful, you need a schedule. You need to have a schedule, right? So have a schedule, number one. And obviously, things are going to happen. It is life. It's business. Things are dynamic. Things are changing. So you might need to change your schedule here, there, whatever. Just do your best to follow it about 80% true. If you do that, if you set a good schedule and you follow it about 80% of the time, you'll be just fine. Lacking accountability mechanisms. So that's pretty self-evident. It's pretty obvious. There's no way for you to hold yourself accountable other than when you don't get paid. That's kind of holding yourself accountable. When you can't like pay for your kids' after school activities, that's a form of being held accountable for all the work and stuff you didn't do. But we need a accountability mechanism way earlier in the process so we can connect with that accountability process and then correct. So we're not continually messing up or not achieving our goals. Lowering your commission rates. So this is a amazing mistake to make if you really want to be out of the business as soon as possible. One, it just sucks. Two, you're devaluing yourself. And three, people think, well, I'm going to get way more business if I do that. There was a guy, he was in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, and he had a 4.5% listing fee. Obviously, he'd give 2.5% to the buyer agent, and he'd keep 2%. And for my listings, I was listing stuff, and I was doing the full 6% commission, and I was giving 2.5% to the buyer, and I was keeping 3.5% for me. So when I did 2 transactions, well, let's actually just do that. Whenever I did, let's just say 3 transactions, right? I was making like 10.5% commission. Just roll with it, okay? Just roll with the numbers. Just making like 10.5 units. He had to close like 6 deals for what I was getting for like 3. He was effectively working for half my salary. Just forget everything else. He was working for like half of my salary. So he could do double the transactions and we'd make the same amount of money. And wouldn't you know it, I actually closed more transactions than him. So I made way more money than him. Even though he lowered his commission, he thought that was a way to succeed and make a bunch of money in business. It wasn't. Because people often equate a higher price with quality. It's a psychological thing. Just it is. You can look into it. But often people will think if something is more important, it's worth more. For better or for worse. I'm just telling you that's the research I've seen. But lowering your commission is not going to get you ahead. It's going to get you frustrated. It's going to get you out of the business really fast. And like I said, if you need to close 2 deals to equate to one of mine, that means you got to do double the work for the same pay. It means if I double my work, I'm going to make quadruple what you make. If I double my work and you're making half, I'm making 4 times what you're making. It's that simple. Not starting fast and with urgency. I see this so much. Agents start and they're like, I got to go to these classes. I got to do this little stupid thing. I got to go talk to this stupid person. And I'll just kind of like get my feet a little wet. And, I'm going to try it out over like a year or something. Buddy, we don't have time. Sweetie, we don't have time to waste, okay? What if the market collapses in a year and you can't make money that easy anymore? We don't have time. We don't have time to waste. You're better than this, okay? You're better than we'll just see what happens. We need you succeeding now. Your family needs you succeeding now. You need you to succeed now. Not in a year or 2 or 3. Now, right now. You need to have a sense of urgency. You need to start fast. Lightning. The Germans conquered Europe with Blitzkrieg lightning war. Conquered all of Europe in like 6 months, if that. The Americans in World War II, island hopping. Island, 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 island. Fast. Everything is speed in business. Everything is speed in business. Think about the moon landing. It was the first, whoever got there. First to get there. Do you think that they were sitting around at NASA and just like, well, we'll figure it out. Like maybe, we'll see what the Russians do and we'll just kind of play around. No. Speed. Lightning. Move. Get up. Do stuff. Fail. Get better. Go right now. Stop BSing. Got to be fast. If you're part-time right now, shouldn't be any longer than the next 90 days. So you should be able to quit your current job, your part-time or full-time job. You should be able to quit that within 90 days with a proper coach. So if you want to buy yourself back, if you're working a 40-hour full-time job, we need to buy back 40 hours of your life by being successful in real estate. Next one, avoiding investment in continuous learning and growth. So a lot of the suckers out there, a lot of the people who suck, they want to make their mistakes year after year after year. And listen, I know money is probably tight, but we got to get going, man. And life is short. Life is fleeting and life is short. We don't have time for you to be a first-year agent 10 years in a row. So make the investment into yourself and into your skills. When you make an investment in yourself and your skills, that's an investment no one can take away from you. It's not in control of anybody else. No government can tax it or take it away. It's yours. So invest in yourself and in your training and in your growth. Now, a lot of agents, they see selling sunset and they think, I want to just show the $1 million home and then mimosas afterwards, champagne, big deal, 50 grand in my account, next one. Like, that's not how it works. And if I said it earlier, you got a list to last. So overlooking the importance of focusing on sellers, huge mistake. Next one, not nurturing client relationships effectively. And this just comes from not knowing any better often. Not caring or not knowing any better. So when you focus on them and their needs and what they want and all the things about them, your sales are just going to explode. When you just don't care about yourself necessarily in a certain sense, just care about them, care about the client, care about what they need. And it's sort of ironic, but when you don't care about yourself, you in fact begin to make way more sales, because people can sense that. People can sense when you care about them. So just put effort towards that. And then again, inadequate follow-up with clients. These are prospective clients and then past clients. You will lose so much business by not just following up, not touching base, being complacent instead of pursuing ambitious goals. So a lot of people, they just want to get a sale like every 3 months. That way they can just pay the bills, go out once a week, and like just be good. And that is not the attitude of an entrepreneur or someone who wants to be successful. So if you have that attitude, it needs to change immediately. And if you can't change it, you need some help from somebody that can help you change it. Not pre-qualifying every appointment. So this is huge. If you're wasting your time, I just noticed a typo. If you're wasting your time going on bad appointments, like that's time where you could be prospecting more. You're gonna feel frustrated going on bad appointments. People that don't want to sell, people that weren't even gonna hire you. It's going to wear you down. You're gonna get burned out because you're going on all these appointments. You feel like you're doing all the activities, but just because you didn't ask the right questions, you're not gonna get listings and sales from it. Another huge mistake: not recording your calls, not practicing your scripts, and not practicing your listing presentation. Now, this is what a lot of agents do. This is what the average agent does. This is not what I want you to do. I want you to be the best. I want you to be successful. I want you to have the life that you want. And in order to have that, you got to record your calls. You got to record your scripts practice. You got to record your listing presentation so that you can get better. Failing to implement organized systems and processes. And this is just as simple as not being organized, not having a process, not having things you fall back on like systems and models. Just as simple as that. A lot of people are just winging it. Like, I'll do this. It's like a star realtor. So they start at the top and they are showing a house. Then they go down here and they go to a meeting, and then they're over here making cold calls, and then they're over here and they're doing that, and they're down here and then they're up here. You don't want to be that. It's called task batching. So when you have an organized system and a process, it's hour of cold calls, hour of lead follow-up, hour of practice, hour appointments. Like you're able to batch tasks and get your brain on a certain thing. I'm just using the hours as an example, not a schedule. But when you're focused, you can do stuff far better. You can do things far better. And lastly, allowing fear and low self-image to hold you back. I don't know if you're like me, but I think we've all been there, where we allow our fear and maybe low self-confidence in certain areas of our life. Like, I'm not the best salesperson, or people don't know me, or, a girl just dumped me. Like, there's a million reasons you can feel sad about your situation and let everything hold you back. Or you can just accept things for what they are and then work on the things you can work on and persevere and continue going regardless of the fear. Now, why is closing key? Insane stat. Top 5 red zone offenses made the playoffs 90% of the time. Think of that. 90% of the time. So you could have a bad offense, you could fumble the ball, you can do everything. If you close in the red zone, you typically get into the playoffs. And so why is closing key? Well, there's a few things about closing and just some things that need to be said It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So 10% of what you say is the words, and 90% is how you say those words. So think of speaking to your spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you say, "What are you doing?" Right? Just in that tone. "What are you doing?" Versus, "What are you doing?" Same words, different message. Same words, different message. So it's not really what you say, it's how you say it. Okay? Now conviction will correct your tone. So if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, that's why I ask you this question so early on. You're not going to have conviction. And you're probably not closing because you don't believe in what you're selling, and often you don't even know what you're selling. You don't even know what you're selling. Like, I have my Nova coaching program. I know what I'm selling. I'm selling the capability to become a quality and capable real estate agent that can be successful anywhere, because you'll have the skills, scripts, systems, models in place. You can take that anywhere, and nobody can take it away from you. And why should you hire me? Well, I've been successful in 3 different markets. I know what to do. First time is chance, second time is a coincidence, third time it's a trend. And I've been successful in Eugene, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and Phoenix metro area. So when somebody comes to me and they're like, "Well, why should I hire you as a coach?" Or why do I need you? Like, listen, I'm here to just help you make the best decision. Whatever works for you, I'm totally fine. Like, that's totally cool. If you don't want to hire me, no big deal. We're all going to be I'm going to be cool, right? I'm still going to have a bunch of clients, and I'm still going to be a successful real estate agent regardless. And if you want to join the group of people who are getting help and becoming better and changing their lives, that's cool too. But when someone says that, I have full conviction because I know I put in the work, and I know that I have something to offer them, and I know I can help them better their lives. And you, as a real estate agent, need to have that same conviction when you go to a seller. Because when you do, you will close. You will get more successes in your real estate life. And a note about memorization versus principles. So, memorization, when you're in the red zone, it's not the time to be thinking. It's got to be muscle memory. So when someone asks you, "Why should we hire you?" That answer needs to be memorized. Like verbatim, down pat, to a T. You need to be good with that answer. It's got to be memorized. And the principles that I'm talking about, those are just principles that you need to understand in order to be able to reliably, confidently have sales conversations. And something to note is you need to understand whoever is talking the most in the conversation is dominating the conversation. Whoever is asking the questions is controlling the conversation. And here's some items that I think would be very helpful to you. Again, go follow that page. Go Limitless. Go follow them. Build habits through consistency for life-changing results. Can't be the outlier if you're the same as the herd. Speak confidently as if you're right, but listen carefully as if you're wrong. Everyone enjoys the beginning and the end. It's where everyone cheers you on. Think of a marathon. Everyone's cheering you on the beginning and the end, but not during the middle. That's the working part. Hey. We have my dog right here. She wanted to say hello. Regret won't change the past. Anxiety won't change your future. Action is the only way to change everything. If you need checklists, scripts, or worksheets, please let me know. I'll send them to you. You can find them at this link. Thank you, and I hope this presentation was helpful.